I'd like to introduce you to the man who proves every day that it is possible to stack bullshit a mile high. Hey everybody, my name's Will, your favorite rural campaign and elections expert, and I'd like to introduce you to one of my two senators, Josh Hawley. Now, if you're not from Missouri, you may not remember Josh Hawley. He's the guy that likes to cosplay as a macho man and hold himself out as an example of masculinity to men and young boys all over the world. But here in Missouri, we just remember him as the frail young guy who gave a fist pump to white supremacists who tried to overthrow the government on January 6th and reverse the will of the American people. Now, the funniest thing about Josh Hawley is he likes to hold himself out here in Missouri as the everyman. But what he won't tell you is that he was the son of a wealthy banker who attended private schools all through his youth and then went to an Ivy League school to get his law degree. He has no experience with agriculture, no experience with hard work, and no experience having to go grind it out every day to support his family. In other words, he's just another one of those guys who was born on third base and goes around telling everybody he hit a triple, something we despise here in rural Missouri. But not only is Senator Hawley a blue blood, he's also somewhat of a religious extremist. Now, it won't surprise anybody to learn that Senator Josh Hawley received part of his funding for school from the Becket Fund for Religious Liberty. Now, the Becket Fund likes to hold themselves out as a defender of all religious viewpoints, of all religious groups. However, it probably won't surprise you to learn that they fail to do so when another religious group's religious beliefs don't coincide with their Christian conservative beliefs. Perfect example of this is when they opposed a Jewish group's arguments in Indiana State Court that the new Dobbs ruling violated their religious rights by limiting their AB rights. And it won't surprise anybody to learn that our Senator Josh Hawley is also involved with a designated hate group. He's part of the Blackstone Legal Fellowship, which was funded by the ADF, and the ADF has been labeled a hate group. Why? Because they want to criminalize LGBTQ behavior, something that violates even the Republican beliefs in the state of Missouri that what happens in your bedroom stays in your bedroom. But old Josh Hawley doesn't believe that. He thinks he should be able to criminalize what you do if it doesn't agree with what he believes. A little bit more about Josh Hawley. Not only did he fist pump the white supremacists that wanted to overthrow the United States government on January 6th, he was one of the first senators to call into question the integrity of the 2020 election and try to argue that the election should not be certified because he didn't want Joe Biden to be president. Oh, and while he's been enjoying that Cadillac healthcare plan in Washington, D.C., he filed a suit to end the Affordable Care Act. You know, the act that gave millions of Americans the right to have health insurance and to be insured even if they had pre-existing conditions. Yeah, he's one of those guys. And if you think I'm done, you're wrong. I'm just getting started. Old Josh Hawley, who is the senator in a very rural state, as a matter of fact, most of his constituents live in rural areas, including farmers and ranchers. Well, Josh Hawley did a little gig as an intern with the Heritage Foundation and supports Project 2025. Now let's talk a little bit about what Project 2025 is going to do to farmers and ranchers in rural America in general. First, it puts farmers at financial risk because it reduces or eliminates the ARC and PLC programs. These are key programs that shield farmers from massive losses when crop prices drop unexpectedly or due to circumstances beyond a farmer's control. In addition to that, Project 2025 would make it very difficult for small family farms to get loans through the Farm Service Agency. This would almost make it impossible for many farmers in the Midwest and the Far West to grow their farming operations to make more money via increased production. Josh Hawley also wants to eliminate child care options in rural America. Almost 60% of rural Americans live in child care deserts. And Project 2025 wants to eliminate Head Start. And that's a program that provides daycare services to between 21 and 59% of rural children in the United States. The project also wants to eliminate the Department of Education and also all Title I programs. And just in case you were wondering, it's primarily Title I programs that provide the majority of funding for low-income students in rural America. And what do they want to do? Well, this just warms Josh Hawley's blue blood heart. They want to take that money and route it into private schools for kids living in larger cities where they have more private school choices. I'm going to give you an example. Where my farm's located in rural Missouri, if I was a father right now, I'd have to drive my child almost 75 miles to get to the nearest private school that these funds will be diverted to. He wants to eliminate free school meals that disproportionately benefit rural children. He supports undermining funding for disaster relief in rural areas that are more susceptible to tornadoes, etc. The project that he supports also calls for taking back all of the unspent funds for the infrastructure bill. Over $65 billion of that goes to rural connectivity, and billions more goes to building better rural roads and bridges, etc. And even little things in the project have big consequences for rural America. They want to cripple the EAS program, and this program is designed to make sure that rural areas have access to airline flights coming in and out of rural areas. But Josh Hawley's biggest character trait is that he's a hypocrite. When he ran for Attorney General in 2016, he ran on a platform that we needed to stop lifelong politicians from running for office just to step up to another office. And then guess what Josh Hawley turned around and did? Just 2 years later, he ran for the United States Senate and used that Attorney General's office as a stepping stone to get to the next office. There's nothing that embarrasses this guy. Now I'm going to give you a homework assignment. If you really want to learn about who Josh Hawley is, just Google the case of Torrey Sanders, a black motorist who took a wrong turn in Tennessee and ended up in Mississippi County, Missouri. Read about the disgusting things that happened to him that resulted in his death, and read about who the main guy was that took the lead in defending the police officers that carried out these actions against him. But Josh Hawley hasn't only offended people of color in this country. You can also Google the fact that after doing nothing for years to fix the problem with untested grape kits in the state of Missouri, after other politicians pushed the issue and got these kits tested, guess who stepped in to try to take credit for it even though he had nothing to do with it? You guessed it, my Senator Josh Hawley. I'm going to ask you to do me one last favor too. Every time you see this little bantam rooster crowing about us needing to be better shepherds of public money, I want you to go back and take a look at what happened in 2022. In 2022, he was busted for using state funds to run his election campaign. In the end, the state was stuck with a $240,000 bill because of Hawley's violation of the Sunshine Act. How many free meals could that have provided for poor rural children? How many books could it have purchased for rural schools? So remember, the next time you turn on the TV and see Josh Hawley waxing eloquent about character, remember, he wouldn't know character if it stood up and stared at him in his rich boy blue-blooded eyes. Hey everybody, have a great day.